In the beginning, there was only silence, and a long road ahead I walked without knowing the destination, carrying pain no one could hear. I trusted the wrong people, lost more than I showed, and learned that betrayal doesn't shout, it whispers. But when everything tried to break me, I didn't stop. I rebuilt myself quietly and waited for the truth to speak. In the beginning, there was only the sound of wind whispering through the quiet places of my heart, and I stood alone on a path that stretched into forever without knowing where it led, and yet I walked as if the world itself was calling my name, and every step felt like a silent promise that something beautiful or something painful was waiting ahead, and I was ready for both because life had already taught me that nothing meaningful comes without a cost, and I had paid many prices in silence long before anyone ever noticed my struggle. I walked through days where hope felt light, and through nights where doubt sat heavy on my chest, and every smile I showed the world was carefully practiced, while inside I carried wounds that never made a sound, and people often mistake quiet endurance for weakness, but they never see the strength it takes to keep moving when everything inside you wants to stop. I trusted someone once with the softest parts of my soul. I gave loyalty, honesty, and patience, and in return I received betrayal dressed as familiarity, and the pain did not arrive loudly. It came slowly, like a shadow growing longer each day, until one morning I realized I was standing alone in a place I never chose to be. They took credit for my effort, they spoke lies with confidence, they watched me fall, and chose not to reach out, and in that moment something inside me broke. But something else was born, a quiet resolve, a promise to myself that I would not stay down, not for revenge, not for applause, but for justice, for the truth that always finds its way back. I walked away without drama, without shouting, without exposing them to the world, because I learned that silence can be more powerful than noise, and while they celebrated what they thought was victory, I started rebuilding myself piece by piece away from their eyes. Days turned into months and months into seasons, and every season shaped me sharper, stronger, calmer, and while they stayed the same, trapped in their habits and ego, I evolved quietly, learning skills, gaining confidence, and turning pain into discipline and focus. Then the moment arrived naturally, without force, without planning. The truth surfaced, as it always does, and the very people who once believed their words began to see through the cracks, and the mask slipped slowly but clearly, and when it did, the room changed, the energy shifted, and I stood there calm, steady, grounded. Their face showed shock, then anger, then something close to fear, because they realized I was no longer the person they once underestimated, and the power they held over me was gone completely, and in that moment, I did not raise my voice, I did not insult them, I did not celebrate. I simply stood in my truth, and that was enough. The relief did not feel explosive, it felt peaceful, like finally exhaling after holding your breath for too long, and I felt validated not by their downfall but by my growth, by the fact that I stayed true to myself when it would have been easier to become bitter. Justice does not always look like punishment. Sometimes it looks like clarity, sometimes it looks like distance, and sometimes it looks like becoming so strong that the past no longer has permission to hurt you. I walked away lighter, knowing that karma does not rush, but it never forgets, and the lesson stayed with me that character always outlives manipulation, and truth always outlasts lies. And if this story made you feel something, if it reminded you of a moment when silence became strength, then stay with us. Share your thoughts in the comments, and tell us about a moment when life surprised you with justice, and make sure to like and subscribe for more stories that stay with you long after the screen fades. Because some stories are not just watched, they are felt.